I am fired up about this one. So let's start officially Jeff Iafrate's 2025 Detroit Lions mock draft 5.0. These are flying, by the way. We're on 5.0. I mean, I'll just keep doing it. I mean, it's fun. I look forward to it every single week. I enjoy doing it. You guys have been really supportive on it. So again, and if you guys disagree with any of the picks, let me know. I don't mind pushback. It's fun to me. It is. So let's begin. Like I said, I decided to trade out of the first round. This is something that Brad, I think, is capable of. I don't know if he'll do it. Ideally, you'd like him to trade up. We can all agree. Trade up and get a really good player. I'm not going to push back on that. I'm not. But in this scenario, with the depth at edge, maybe you can trade back, get a guy you really like, and pick up another third, fourth round pick to, go out and get another player. So that is where I'm at. So I traded out of the first, picked up another pick. So let's begin. All right. And with the first pick, well, I guess it's the second round pick. I think it's 33. We'll see in a second. I decided to take a player that I've taken before in my mock drafts. Okay. And I really like this player. And he's going to be an early second round pick. But he is, when you talk about edges, this is the guy you're looking for. And that is 34, by the way. Edge out of Ole Miss, Princley Umanmiel. Umanmiel. I think I butchered that, but he is an explosive player. Okay, he is, and I suggest for anyone that's looking at edges, if you're bored, go watch Princley, because you watch that Ole Miss defensive line with Walter Nolan, who I've taken before. I love all these Ole Miss guys, like Jared Ivey's on there. Princley led the team in sacks, highly productive, high win rate. He's just he fits. You look at the size too. He's 22 years old, 6'4", 260 pounds, 10 and a half sacks this year for Ole Miss. Last year was at Florida, transferred. He's a Florida transfer. And at Florida, just got better basically every single year. I mean, his last 3 years at Florida, 1.5 sacks, 4.5 sacks, 7 sacks. Transferred to Ole Miss, 10.5 sacks. So, again, I love it. Production, right? That's what you're looking for. I know it's a big thing for some players. It's like, well, he doesn't produce, but he has the measurables. No, Princley produces. He had a 22.8 pass rush win rate, 22.8% pass rush win rate. Had one of his highest graded games, actually his highest graded game this year against Georgia. Yep, against Georgia. Lined up mostly outside the tackle. He's a pretty good run defender, an excellent pass rusher. So, again, size, everything you're kind of looking for. Super twitchy. That's kind of the one thing when you watch him. Like, he's got the long arms too, which is, kind of the joke with Aiden. People come at him for smaller arms, even though it doesn't hurt him at all. But Princey's got longer arms. He's got a little bit of ability. Sideline to sideline, can catch running backs. You know what I mean? So he can chase guys down. There's comparisons. They compare him to like Boye Mafe. But I love Princley. I do. So he's an excellent pick. You get him at 34 and you get picks. Yeah. All right, let's get to the next one. And you'll see the pick I actually acquired here. All right. With the 60th pick, another Ole Miss player, and that is wide receiver Tre Harris. And Tre Harris, for those who haven't watched any Ole Miss games, Tre Harris is that guy. He just is. He's big, 6'3", productive. That's what his career's been. Productive. He's had basically almost 1,000 the last 3 years. He had 1,000 yards this year. His grade against man coverage is insane. According to PFF, 95.0 grade against man coverage. Doesn't drop the ball much, gets open, catches every football thrown his way. He's very physical, gets vertical. He's a player that I think, you talk about a Tim Patrick replacement. This isn't like you're drafting a guy to replace Tim Patrick and just kind of be like semi-productive, but Tre Harris can be a star. He can be a very good player. He's going to be. I mean, he's a second-round pick, and you'll see why as the draft goes on, why I took a wide receiver this early. But he's a He's a big playability, big body, make plays everywhere, reliable hands, gets open. He checks off pretty much every box. And hot take here. Don't know if anyone's going to like this one, but I'll just say it anyway because it usually works out for me well. But when you look at the future and you look at extensions and you look at players that you might not be able to keep, if there is a scenario, don't attack me. If there's a scenario where you can't keep Jameson Williams, Tre Harris will become that wide receiver too. I promise you, he's that good. So you don't have as much pressure on you to try and re-sign a Jameson when you have Tre Harris kind of being groomed and playing more and more. Like Tre Harris, I think can turn into a dude in the NFL. I do. So I don't know how people are going to take that, but I'm just being honest. From a GM's perspective, that's why you would take a guy like Tre Harris. All right, we'll go to the next pick, and I decided to where I think the Lions are going to be interested in a player. This is more like me trying to predict what the Lions will do, partially who I like, but this is more trying to give you guys like a realistic scenario. I try to do a little more realistic. I try to think of like what Brad would do to try and make it a little more fun. I don't want to just pump out Lions mocks who I like and just, fit narratives. This is kind of what I think could happen realistically, and that's the Lions drafting at 99 Deion Walker. And this is, by the way, Deion Walker. I love Deion Walker, but this is the 99th pick that I acquired because I traded back. So you basically got Princley and Deion instead of that 28th pick. Think about it. Deion Walker, I don't need to say much about the guy. He's a specimen. I love Deion Walker. He's definitely a draft crush of mine. I'm not going to lie to you. He is massive human being. He's a space clogger. That's what he does. Against the run, very good. Pass rush upside. I know this past year, a little more quiet in terms of production, but the year prior, 7 sacks. And this is someone, the Lions, they've sent scouts out to his pro day. They talked to him. There's some insight. Yeah, you're getting nuggets today, but I'm dropping some nuggets here. Talk to him a little bit. Might be interest here. Okay? Might be some interest here. And I think Deion Walker is going to be, they're looking at measurables with him. So people are going to look at him. Obviously a Detroit native. It helps. Not on your play not with play on the field, but it helps. He's an athlete. He moves really well when you watch him on tape for being 6'6", 350 pounds. He led the nation in pressures in 2023. So think about it, right? He can play all over your D-line. He's got some versatility to him. So I think it's very intriguing. 6'6", 345, play some nose tackle. Ooh, be like your DJ Reader replacement. Yeah. 3 tech to rush the passer, but on certain passing downs, imagine him playing alongside Aleem. Ooh, I like it. I love Deion. So there you go. Princley, Tre, and Deion, your first 3 picks. Fitting out pretty nicely. All right, speaking of trying to mimic what the Lions will do, this next pick, it's been a rumor. Jeff Risdon put it out, and that player at 102 is Oluwafemi Oladejo. Okay, the linebacker edge out of UCLA. I put him at edge here, but he played linebacker, changed his position to edge, played edge this year at UCLA. But you watch him at the Senior Bowl, he made a name for himself there, and the Lions love him. They love his versatility, but also his upside at edge, what he can do. So I got Femi here at 102. And the Lions love him. I like him. At 102, I really like him. You never know what you can get out of a guy like this, right? Who's plays with the way he plays the game, his athleticism, size. He still checks kind of the size box. I know he's like 6'3", 250, I think he is for measurements. But he's not like a Josh Paschal. Like he's not that 6'3", 270. No, he's an edge, right? He's an edge. But he's a linebacker. So he sees the game like a linebacker, but he can line up at edge. Obviously a high IQ player. So I think it's very interesting. The Lions like him a lot. So keep an eye on this guy, man, because you might see him come April. All right, we'll keep it moving here. With the next selection, I decided to take, and by the way, love this pick. And this is the first time I've ever drafted this player. Oh, yeah. You guys are going to, I know Malik's going to like it in the chat here. That player is tackle / guard, and I'll explain why. A Johnny Cornelius. Let me explain something to you guys, all right? A Johnny Cornelius, it says Nebraska, but it's Oregon, so disregard that. But a Johnny Cornelius, he's a right tackle. Okay, Josh Connerly, who's going to go probably late first, early second, plays left tackle. Johnny's right tackle. Stay with me now. He came out of high school as a right guard. Played right tackle, can play right guard. Where do you need right? You need right guard the most. That's the Lions, right? Oh, yeah, you do. All right, Graham's playing right guard. This guy right here is your Graham replacement. All right, trust me on that. And this isn't taking away from, what I guess could happen at left tackle in the future with Gio. Maybe Gio's your left tackle, but Johnny he played I think a couple snaps at left tackle, but he's been mainly on the right side, so he can play right guard for you if you need him to. 6'5", he's got great size on him. And Oregon with offensive linemen. I mean, Panay came from there. They always are producing pretty good offensive linemen. So they're going to have 2 tackles drafted in the top 4 rounds. And Johnny, I think, is a intriguing player, especially because he's a guard who moved to tackle. And I think in the NFL, they project him to be a guard. So I love it. Longer arms, everything you look for, man. So I love it, Johnny. One of my favorite picks of this draft. Not going to lie to you guys. I can't. By the way, him and Panay next to each other, 6'5", 6'5". Good luck. All right, good luck. All right, let's keep it pushing here. I decided to do something interesting. I'm doing it. And I don't give a damn. We're taking another offensive lineman. Give me another one. And give me a center, Jake Majors at 196. Okay, yeah, we're doing it. Okay, screw it. Why not? We're taking back-to-back offensive linemen. We're doing it. Jake Majors. You got a problem with it? I don't care. He's a great center. He's Iron Man. That's what I call him, Iron Man. 39 straight starts. I said this when I drafted him the first time. 39 straight starts. Great in pass protection. Mauler in the run game. 0 sacks allowed last year. 0 sacks. Love Jake Majors, man. He's one of my favorite players in the draft because I'm interested where he's going to go. And I think the Lions, if you're looking for a center, Jake Majors would be perfect. He was a center for one of the best offensive lines in football. Helped run block for guys like Bijan Robinson. You ever heard of him? Yeah. Jake Majors. Love it. 196. Back-to-back offensive linemen. We've gotten edge, wide receiver, defensive line, edge, tackle, guard, center. Let's keep it pushing. All right. I like this a lot. All right, I say this every week. With the next selection, I decided to go with a similar face. I'm not going to, take too much time with this. Malachi Moore. Okay, Malachi Moore. Lions got to it's like Bama DBs, it seems like a match made in heaven. Bama DB, Lions, how you doing? You guys meet. And it always goes well. They always draft them. So Malachi Moore, safety. So I got a safety. Don't worry. I'll always make sure I grab a safety somewhere in here. So it's just a solid pick. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys why Malachi Moore. He might not even be here at this time, if I'm being honest, but I think it's a very good pick, especially at in the 220 range. Come on. It's ridiculous. All right, let's keep it pushing. Next pick. I decided to go with, by the way, this is just the cherry on top. Smael Mondon. Come on. Smael Mondon. Linebacker out of Georgia. You ever watch Smael Mondon on tape? The Lions are going to love him. Lions are going to love him. And by the way, all these Georgia players that got DUIs, I don't think Smael has one. So he's a good fish. Okay, he hasn't gotten into all this bullshit. All right, but also got to see him at the combine, and it kind of confirmed what I already know. Senior Bowl participant, and there's tape of him covering ETN, who's the running back at Georgia, but out of the backfield. He's got, for especially a 7th round pick, like Smael Mondon, can this guy beat out Ben Neiman, Trevor Nowaski. He'll compete with those guys. And a special teamer. That's what he's going to do. SEC player. I mean, look how many players I've taken in the SEC. I mean, just think about that for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 players in the SEC. We're getting some dogs. All right. That's what we're getting here in my 5.0 mock. But I love it. Way to close out this draft. I mean, look at the draft, guys. Look at this draft. Look at. I mean, I love this. I love this draft. And he traded back and got another pick. So I wanted to switch it up, do something different. But if the Lions ended with this draft, I'd love it. Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, officialctsports.com.